Welcome back everyone. Today I want to go over a few pieces of Palworld news. I'll still be doing my guide videos and update videos as updates are released, so don't worry about that, but let's get into these news segments. So first, this is an article by GamesRadar. It's been now 2 months since Palworld was released. Well, just over. So they're saying 2 months after launch, Palworld is still averaging over 100,000 concurrent players a day on Steam, even with the biggest content updates still to come. That's over 100,000 people on PC. That's not including the Xbox. Now, those numbers are nowhere near where they used to be when it first came out, but 2 months after launch, Palworld has proven it has staying power, with over 100,000 concurrent players a day still playing on Steam, which is still pretty good, especially for an early access game. So Palworld became an overnight sensation when it launched back in January, selling 2 million copies in a single day, which is insane. And that's across PC and Xbox, so that's both platforms. And within days, it surpassed 2 million concurrent players on Steam, a feat which until this point, only PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has managed to pull off. An early access game by an indie team managed to get to basically second place in all games. That is insane. And now 2 months later, the survival mashup is still attracting an impressive number of players. It is, that's still a good number. So according to SteamDB, Palworld's concurrent player count is comfortably hitting above 100,000 per day on Valve's platform. I have to assume they're talking, again, PC only. At the time of writing, which this came out yesterday, the 24-hour peak sits at 106,000, and Tuesday, March 19th, which was just a few days ago, exactly 2 months after its release, it saw 112,000 concurrent players. So these figures over the past weekend are even more impressive, with heights of 140,000 recorded on Saturday, March 16th. So that's still pretty good. And of course, these are nowhere near the crazy numbers it was doing at launch, but Palworld is still among the most played game on Steam, or is still among the most played games on Steam, and there is potential for its popularity to increase in the future with the wealth of content developer Pocket Pair has planned. According to the first Palworld roadmap, endgame raids, PvP, server transfer, improved Pal AI, additional islands, and more are currently in the pipeline. Now this is something that came out a little while ago here. Last month, community manager Bucky addressed Palworld's slowly declining player count, reassuring fans that it's fine to stop playing. There are so many amazing games out there to play, they said. You don't need to feel guilty about hopping from game to game. If you're still playing Palworld, we love you. If you're no longer playing Palworld, we still love you. We hope you'll still come back for round 2 when you're ready, which is an amazing thing for a game developer to say. So as you can see, according to this article, they're still hitting 140,000 every day, which is really good. So an early access game to take off like this, they're doing pretty good. So now we're going to go on to the next piece of information. Now this one here I haven't read, but this is by GameSpot. This was released yesterday as well, the 21st. So Microsoft has announced that Xbox just broke a big record. January 2024 is Xbox's biggest month ever on console based on total playtime, the company announced in a blog spot. So how long has Xbox been out? A long time, and they just broke their record of the biggest month ever. Most playtime in a month took this long to get, obviously because of Palworld, so that is just insane. Microsoft blog post specifically mentions Palworld, which has reached more than 10 million people on Xbox so far, due in part to its inclusion on the Xbox Game Pass catalog. Microsoft did not say which month they were previously the biggest ever for on Xbox in terms of playtime, but Palworld was a bona fide phenomenon, and it's only available on console via Xbox, so it's not a big surprise to learn to help to boost Xbox's total playtime. Palworld was the biggest third-party launch on Xbox Game Pass ever, surpassing High on Life, which I did play High on Life. That was a good game. I did thoroughly enjoy it. Palworld on Xbox and PC for that matter is available in an unfinished state as developer Pocket Pair continues working on getting ready for its 1.0 release. Yes, it's in early access. For more, check out GameSpot's guide hub for Palworld. Pocket Pair is also warning people about Palworld mobile game scams since there is no mobile version of the title. So if you do see someone saying Palworld on mobile, it is a scam. They do not have a mobile version, so feel free to report it to whoever you can, because we definitely don't want people being scammed. Now we're going to go to the last piece of information. Now I have not read this article either, but new Palworld update may be teasing the best endgame improvement. Palworld's developers have teased the addition of a much requested endgame feature, which could fit right in with some near future updates. Now the summary here I did read. Palworld players could soon see a higher level cap and new pals, bringing fresh challenges and excitement to the game. The concurrent linear nature of Palworld may lead to a dull endgame once players have completed the content in the Palpagos Island, and the addition of raid bosses like Bellinor could hint at a level cap increase, providing more goals and content for players to strive towards. So first I want to hit that real quick. The addition of raid bosses has nothing to do with the level cap increase. Now, Bucky did say if they were to do a level cap increase, it would be alongside the addition of new pals, but adding a new raid boss doesn't necessarily have anything to do with a level cap increase. The level cap could stay the same when they add new content. Unless it's like more tech tree items, then it would make sense to have a level cap increase to grind for more of that instead of just throwing it in. Palworld could see a much needed endgame improvement soon. Unlike most open world survival games, Palworld is surprisingly linear. Sure, players can go wherever they want, whenever they want, but the map is always the same, aside from its procedurally generated dungeons. Players will always find the same landmarks, pal habitat, and skill trees in the same place in Palworld. There's something to be said for a bespoke map design, but the linear nature of Palworld means that there's a clear-cut endgame. At a certain point, a player has done everything there is to do on the Palpagos Island. So unless you're playing a game like Baldur's Gate, where everything you do affects the storyline with a big game, if you have an open world, like this is more of a sandbox game, where Baldur's Gate is a lot more of a story-based game. So it makes sense that, you could run through Baldur's Gate a bunch of times trying to get all the different lines of dialogue and all the different endings, which you would never do because it's way too big. But a game like this, it's an open world sandbox. You just go, you build whatever base you want, you catch the pals, fight the bosses. But I mean, at the same time, if you ever played like a game like Call of Duty, it's the exact same thing. You go through the story and you're done. But at least in this, there's a lot more. You could go around and do a lot more. Yeah, once you hit the end game, you've caught all the pals, you bred them, you've built your base. It does get a little bit repetitive. Once the PvP and the pal arena comes in, that's when it's really going to take off again. So that's only worsened by certain other game mechanics. At a certain point, Palworld just ends. And with its unflexible map, there's little incentives to start a new game. As a result, many Palworld players have been clamoring for new content. Pocket Pair promises updates are coming, but they could be way off. However, one of Palworld's developers recently teased some major updates coming to the game soon. One of these has been the subject of much discussion and could be especially beneficial for players who have already completed the base game. So that's kind of what we were saying, right? Because that clear-cut endgame, you've done everything, so they're just kind of reiterating that. Palworld may raise its level cap soon. A message posted on Palworld's official Discord server suggests that the new higher level cap could be coming to the game soon. I shared a YouTube video by user Loaded Crisis. If you haven't seen him, you should go watch him. He makes some decent content. The message was sent out by a user who goes by the name of Bucky, Pocket Bear's community manager. According to Bucky, I'm not going to share any specifics, but if the level cap was raised, it would be alongside new pals being released anyway, which we had just mentioned. The refusal to reveal details is significant here. It means that the details do exist. While absolutely nothing has been confirmed by Pocket Pair yet, this message suggests that the level cap conversation is actively ongoing. That may come as part of a larger update, which may also include a host of new pals for players to catch. Pocket Pair is just trying to keep the specs under wraps so it can reveal details in future updates when it's good and ready. Tip here, Palworld's current level cap is 50, beyond which players and pals can no longer gain experience points. But again, nothing's official yet. There's been no trailer, announcement, or release date of an updated level cap. And if Bucky's very careful to temper players' expectations with capitalized if, while somewhere at Pocket Pair is clearly aware of the demand for a raised level cap, it's pretty clear no one's made a definitive decision yet. Developers could very well decide that Palworld's progression is complete in its current form and decline to raise the level cap, instead adding new endgame content in the form of high-powered pals, rare technologies, and raid bosses. Still, there are many potential benefits to a higher level cap. We're going to see why they think they need a level cap, higher one, because if they're going to restart, do we really need a higher level cap? I mean, you're 50, it's pretty good. You could just change some things. So let's see what these guys have to say. First and foremost, it's important to look at the current state of Palworld endgame content. Once a player reaches level 50, they can no longer gain experience or level up. That means no more stat increases. The player's character stats are locked in permanently from the moment they hit level 50. Pals can still level up to 50, they can gain new skills via progression or skill fruit as usual. The players continue to catch new pals and gain technology points in Palworld, but the only incentive for doing so is filling the pal deck and technology tree, which, I mean, that's fair. But what, you want an infinite level cap? Players can also spend time expanding and optimizing their bases, which means catching, breeding, and training for pals further for certain tasks. But through it all, the player characters will never become more powerful, nor will the pals once they reach level 50. New technology tree unlocks will also grind to a halt, as leveling up is the primary way of acquiring technology points. Once a player and all their pals have reached level 50, there are no longer any concrete goals to work toward, no new tech power-ups to look forward to. Which that's true, but again, do you want an infinite level cap? There's room for expansion even if the developers choose to keep Palworld's level cap in the double digits, and could go hand in hand with another upcoming Palworld update, the addition of raid bosses. Palworld will soon see its first raid against an ultra-powerful pal called Bellinor, sometime in the near future. Pocketpair has made it clear that this is only the first raid boss. There are almost certainly others coming in the future. The addition of new content almost necessitates a raised level cap. Even if players have new goals to set for themselves, these can seem pointless if they don't go hand in hand with the noticeable character progression. It is a fairly common strategy for MMOs. A new big boss arrives, and the player level caps rise in response, requiring a fair bit of grinding and powering up before they're ready to take on the new raid. This could even become a trend with Palworld repeatedly introducing new raid bosses, each of whom demand a higher level cap of players who might challenge them. So they want the raid boss to be like a level 70, and now we're level 50, we got to get up to 70 before we can fight it, which that is definitely one way to do it. In fact, the upcoming edition of Bellinor might suggest a level cap increase is already on the way. It's not exactly clear how raid bosses will work in Palworld. They may be catchable like world bosses, or uncatchable like tower bosses. If they are catchable, raid bosses could be said to count as new pals. According to Bucky, a higher level cap is likely to become with the addition of new pals. Bellinor could be one of those pals. That's exactly what my thoughts were, which could mean that the update that includes the raid bosses could also raise the level cap. See, that's what I thought. When Bellinor comes, they're going to add the raised level cap. That's the way I interpreted it. Now, they do say it bears repeating that Pocketpair hasn't announced any official plans to raise the level cap. Palworld has a pretty solid roadmap, but for the most part, planned updates focus more on central new features like PvP combat, raid bosses, and crossplay. Still, there are bound to be surprises like new pals and level cap increases mixed in along the way. These are some of the most requested changes and can easily fit in with the future of Palworld. And that is all they say. So again, the only official thing we have is the roadmap, which is still cool. There's no official announcements on raising the level cap. We do know Bellinor is going to be coming, but that is all we know about Bellinor. We don't know anything about how we're going to fight her, how many people it's going to take to fight her, or anything like that. We just know that Bellinor is going to be coming. So teasing the best endgame improvement. What do they call the best endgame improvement? Possibly a level cap increase and the addition of raid bosses. But is that the best endgame improvement that they could make? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think the best endgame improvement that they could add would be. I hope you enjoyed this news update video. If you learned something new, leave a like, and if you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.